Have you ever sat in that heavy silence at a family dinner? We retell those moments honest, every day, sometimes controversial. Every story is a mirror. Subscribe, join the conversation, and maybe find a little healing. The hallway hums like a refrigerator. Cold air, bright lights. The ceiling panels buzz and the floor smells like bleach and lemon. My gown opens at the back, paper thin. My knees touch metal through the gurney rail and stick with sweat. The monitor beside me counts without emotion. Beep, beep, beep. A round clock on the wall drips seconds that I can hear in my teeth. A nurse with gentle hands checks the plastic band on my wrist. Ruth, her badge says. She asks my name and date of birth. I answer without looking away from the clock. She smiles, then smooths the blanket like she's tucking in a child. Across the hall, someone coughs and a cart rattles by with stainless instruments that click like ice. A flash of red appears at the glass panel in my door. Ava's scarf, the silk one from a downtown boutique. She steps in on heels that click fast and precise. Chase follows suit, pressed tie the color of rain. He carries lilies, white and clean, the kind that belong in quiet rooms with folded hands. Mom, Ava says. She leans in and her perfume fights the disinfectant. How do you feel? Cold, I say, and silly in this thing. Chase sets the lilies on the shelf under the clock. They said flowers help, he says. He looks straight at the vase, not at me. His cufflinks shine. He glances at the monitor. Beep, beep. His mouth does that smile that does not move his eyes. He knows my portfolio because I taught him to read it. He learned the shapes of lots on my map of East Austin. He sat at my kitchen table while I showed him how to sort tenants by time and temperament. The keys to the high-rise condo still weigh down my purse. The map in the closet still has red flags where value grows like weeds after rain. Dr. Keaton arrives with a folder and a calm voice. 60 silver beard hands, scrubbed until they shine. He explains the incision, the pump, the recovery room. I nod at milestones like road signs on a long drive. Consent forms wait. The pen leaves grooves in the paper because my hand shakes. Ruth steadies the binder with 2 fingers and does not comment. We will take good care of you, Keaton says. You will be asleep before we move you. Ava touches my knuckles. Her ring feels like ice. We will be here when you wake up. Of course, Chase says. He tucks the folder back under the flowers. He slips a small envelope into his inner pocket as if it were nothing. His jacket closes. The red scarf catches the air from the vent and lifts. They move to the doorway. The hall murmurs with hospital life phones and distant voices. A transport tech in blue scrubs pauses with an empty chair and then continues. The clock keeps up its drip. Tick, tick. Ruth wheels me closer to the window for light. I close my eyes because the ceiling feels like it is leaning down. The linens smell like starch. The lilies grow stronger by the minute. Their sweetness turns heavy. I breathe through my mouth and try to think about the lake trail at dawn. I pretend my shoes are on, that my knees are fine, that my chest does not feel like a locked drawer. Voices slip in through the door that someone did not close all the way. They start soft, like the room is breathing, then closer, low and lean. 3 hours, Chase says, then it is done. Ava whispers something too soft to catch. Do you have the papers ready? He keeps his voice flat. Business voice. Yes, Ava says. The will looks perfect. The word perfect hangs up by the air vent. The scarf rustles. The lilies seem to lean. What about complications, she asks. What if she wakes up fine? She will not, Chase says. Vargas is set. 5,000. Recovery room. Extra dose. No flags. The words crawl under my skin. My chest tightens like someone pulled a belt. The monitor answers with a quicker beat. Beep, beep, beep. Ava breathes out a small laugh that sounds like a hiccup. And Naples. I want a place with a balcony. Naples has better sunsets, Chase says. Miami is for the loud ones. Their shoes move. Their voices step back. The lilies press fragrance into the room until I taste it. I keep my eyes closed because if I open them, I am afraid my face will give me away. My fingers slide under the blanket and grip the gurney rail until the metal leaves lines in my palm. What if someone asks about the notary, Ava says, about the stamps? No one will, Chase says. We have a name, we have a story. We look concerned on camera and it is over. The word camera clicks a switch in my head. I see the condo article in the Statesman with a picture of me and a ribbon cutting. I see that red scarf in that photo too, somewhere in the crowd behind me. The scarf was bright even then. I filed the paper in a box with tax letters and insurance pamphlets. I can find it in 5 minutes with my eyes closed. Ruth is sweet, Ava says. She likes Mom. She would never suspect us. Ruth is not the one who will touch the syringe, Chase says. Relax. The monitor climbs a step. Beep, beep, beep. I swallow noise and push my tongue against my teeth. My mouth tastes like copper. I curl my toes to ground myself. The floor under the wheels is smooth, vinyl, cool, clean, and different. The door opens the rest of the way with a soft squeak. Ruth comes in brisk and careful. She checks my chart, checks the IV port, checks the time. She looks at me and her eyes soften. How is your pain, Ms. Ward? She asks. Fine, I say. My voice sounds like a stranger. Ava appears over Ruth's shoulder, smile, bright eyes, glassy, wet. Mom, we were just talking about how brave you are. Chase returns the smile with a nod that looks rehearsed. We spoke with billing. Everything is in order. Ruth lifts the blanket edge to free a trapped corner. We will be moving soon, she says. Do you need anything before we go? I would like 1 more minute, I say. Just breathing. Of course. Ruth rolls me half an inch to straighten the wheels. She adjusts the monitor cable so it does not pull. She tucks the blanket high under my chin and pats once. Her hand is warm. Ava strokes my knuckles again. The ring is no warmer now. You always said I was the dramatic one, she says with a little laugh that flutters. Look at me, crying in a hospital hallway. You're allowed to cry, I say. The words find themselves. Chase clears his throat, checks his watch, checks the lilies. Traffic is bad on Congress, he says to no one. The clock ticks. The monitor keeps its pulse. The smell of lilies deepens until the sweet edge turns bitter. It presses on my tongue like syrup. Ruth steps back toward the door. I will be right outside, she says. Call if you need me. Ava leans closer. The scarf brushes my cheek like a flag. Her whisper is paper thin. It is almost over. Her face moves away and the scarf falls back into place. Chase's shoe squeaks on vinyl. The door swings toward the frame but does not latch. In the gap, I can see a slice of the corridor. A man in darker scrubs walks by with a coffee cup and a badge turned backward on his clip. He passes without looking in. The coffee steams. The scent cuts through the flowers for a second and disappears. The clock on the wall clicks. The second hand crosses the 12 and lands on the 1. The room seems to tilt. The monitor ticks its metronome. Beep, beep, beep. Tonight, Chase says from the shadow of the hall, she is not here. The monitor catches the words and runs. Beep, beep, beep. Ruth turns her head. The lilies tremble. Ava looks back through the opening and her eyes meet mine. The red scarf glows under the fluorescent light. The clock keeps time. The room holds its breath. The clock on the wall clicks like a small animal. Beep from the monitor keeps a slow beat that feels too loud. I stare at the lilies until the white turns to glare. Ruth steps in again with a chart against her chest. She has the soft walk of someone who has worked night shifts too long. I wait until her eyes find mine. I need a favor, I say. My voice is thin. 2 minutes. A phone call. Her glance slides to the door, then back to me. Concern first, then calculation. She lowers the chart to the foot of the bed. Family, she asks. Lawyer, I say. Marcus Hale. Ruth studies my face like a monitor she can read. Something in what she sees makes her nod once. She picks up the room phone dials. The operator asks for an outside line, then places the receiver within reach. Her sleeve smells like soap. I punch the numbers I know my hands could dial in a blackout. It rings twice. A third time. On the 4th, the familiar voice answers, clipped and calm. Hale, Marcus. It is Helen. I hear my own breath and the busy noise of a city behind him. I am at St. Helena. I need you. Now. What is happening, he asks. No panic, just the shape of the question. I swallow. The lilies taste like sugar gone wrong. I keep my voice even. I overheard them. I do not say their names. The phone is not private. They have papers. They have someone named Vargas. 5,000. Recovery room. An extra dose. Silence at his end feels like a lung. Then he speaks fast. Do not go into the operating room. Say there is a legal issue with your will and you need 24 hours. I am sending Sarah. She will have clothes identification, cash, and a plan. 10 blocks out, 30 minutes. Ruth is pretending to check the IV line, but her head is tilted my way. I cover the mouthpiece with my hand. 30 minutes, I repeat. He hears my fear inside the words. Breathe, he says. I will handle the rest. He hangs up so he can start moving pieces. Ruth lifts the receiver from my hand and places it back in its cradle with a small click. He said not to go, I tell her. He is sending help. Ruth holds my gaze. The fluorescent light makes a pale ring in each of her pupils. This is your decision, she says. If you want to postpone, I will call Dr. Keaton. I want to postpone, I say, for one day. Ruth nods and steps out. The moment she leaves the room sounds louder. The clock ticks and the monitor answers. The air vent sighs. I draw the blanket to my chin to keep my hands from shaking. Ava's perfume lingers under the scent of the lilies. I focus on the rhythm of my breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. My chest muscles argue like they belong to someone else. The gurney frame is cold where my wrist rests. Keaton arrives not long after. His beard looks newer in harsh light. His eyes measure the space around me. Ruth stands at his shoulder. I hear you want to postpone, he says. Yes, I say. I need to resolve a legal matter. It will give me peace of mind. He weighs the request on a scale I cannot see. We are prepared today, he says. Your tests point to the need for intervention soon. I can move you to tomorrow morning at the same time. I cannot delay much more. Tomorrow, I say, that is all I ask. He nods. Very well. We will reset to 8. He leaves to alert the team. Ruth makes a note. Her pen leaves small dents in the paper. She squeezes my shoulder with 2 fingers before she lowers the side rail. You did the right thing, she says. I stare at the door. Silence yawns, then fills with footsteps. Ava and Chase return with a paper cup of coffee and a takeout bag they do not need. The scarf is tied looser now. Her eyes are bright. Chase smiles like he won something. I wanted to see you off, Ava says. We moved the surgery, I answer. I try to make it sound like an apology. Tomorrow morning instead. Their faces change by a shade. Ava catches herself first. Oh. If it helps you feel calmer, she says. She adjusts the scarf in a motion that reads like a reset. Chase is slower. His lip goes tight before the rest of his face follows. The doctor agreed. Dr. Keaton came by, Ruth says, neutral and efficient. We will prep again tomorrow. Chase nods. He sips the coffee he does not want. He checks the lilies and sets the cup beside them. The heat from the lid sends a new scent into the mix, bitter and dark. We might step out for a bit, Ava says. You should rest. Do not be long, I say. It comes out too quick. I soften my face so it looks like a joke. We will bring you real food, Chase says, like a promise he can keep. They leave. The door closes all the way. The latch engages with a dull click. The clock shows 20 minutes since the call. Ruth leans inside. If you need anything, press the button, she says. I need clothes, I tell her, soon. She nods like she understands more than I have said. She keeps the curtain half open, a strip of quiet control. The next 10 minutes are a tunnel. Nurses pass the door, wheels squeak, an intercom chirps and a name repeats. Somewhere a newborn cries once, then stops. I count 5 sets of footsteps. I count 14 ticks. The lilies look tired. Their edges are browning. A young woman appears in the doorway like a solution. Dark hair pulled back, gray blazer, a messenger bag, and a small rolling suitcase. She checks the chart at the foot of the bed, then me. Ms. Ward, she says, I am Sarah Lynn. Marcus sent me. A piece of breath leaves my body in a way that is not a sigh. Sarah moves quick. She unzips the suitcase and lays out jeans, a white blouse, a light jacket, and sneakers with soft soles. She sets a flat envelope on the side table. Driver license, credit card. Cash banded in hundreds. A key fob with a sticker that reads E-Lot. We filed a transfer request to Cedar Ridge Heart Institute for a second opinion, she says, as if reviewing a routine step. Ruth has the form. An orderly will arrive with a wheelchair. You will ride out the front with a paper packet that makes it all look boring. Ruth steps in on cue with a clipboard. I have the transfer, she says. Dr. Keaton signed. I look at Sarah because the checklist in her voice steadies me. What about them, I ask. I mean Ava and Chase without saying their names. They went downstairs, Sarah says. I saw them cross to the garage. Ruth draws the curtain. Her practicality is a shelter. Let us get you dressed, she says. I swing my legs over the side of the bed. The tile is cold and it wakes my knees in a clean line. Sarah helps me slide into the jeans. They fit. The blouse is soft. The jacket smells faintly of cedar. I step into the sneakers and the floor softens. My hospital gown folds into a square that does not look like something I wore a minute ago. Sarah hands me the envelope. The card has my face. The name reads correct. My hand steadies around the plastic. Take this, she says. And this she adds, placing a manila folder on my lap. St. Helena to Cedar Ridge. Reason for transfer. Signature lines filled. The orderly arrives like a set change. He is in his 50s. He wears a badge that reads Patrick. He brings a wheelchair that shines from constant cleaning. He parks it beside the bed and flips down the footrests. "Ms. Ward," he says, ready to roll. "I am," I say. The words feel like a line I practiced once in another life. Ruth helps me sit. She tucks the manila folder under my palm and folds the blanket over my lap so it looks like comfort instead of disguise. She lifts the vase of lilies from the shelf and carries it to the sink. "Enough of that," she says. She pours water down the drain. The sweet smell fades into something cleaner. Sarah takes a suitcase and her messenger bag. She walks 2 steps ahead to clear the path. We move into the hallway. The wheels hum on vinyl. The air tastes like air again. The ceiling lights click past in a staccato row. We pass doors with windows and chairs with coats. We pass a bulletin board with a poster about fall prevention and a happy cartoon leaf. Ruth keeps pace on my right side. Patrick pushes. Sarah walks on the left. The formation makes me feel walled in and safe. We reach the elevators. Ruth hits the call button. The light winks and a bell chimes from somewhere above. Patrick shifts his stance to angle the chair. The doors open with a tidy glide. Inside the car, it smells like someone's shampoo and rubber soles. The panel glows with floor numbers. Patrick presses 1. The door shivers and starts to close. A voice cuts in from the corridor. "Wait." The door bounces and slides open again. Ava stands on the threshold with a small paper bag and the red scarf thrown over one shoulder like a flag. Her lipstick looks brighter in the elevator light. She takes in the wheelchair. She takes in my jacket and shoes. Her eyes do not miss Sarah or the manila folder. "Where are you going?" she asks. The words are light. They do not hide the edge. Ruth answers first. "Transfer for a second opinion," she says. "Cedar Ridge." Ava nods as if she already knew. She looks at me like a camera is present. She tips her head in a gesture that reads as concern to anyone but me. "Text me," she says. "I will come by later." I rest my fingers on the folder. The clock hanging over the elevator lobby ticks into the next minute. The scarf moves in the air from the shaft. The lilies do not smell in here. The elevator waits in a quiet that feels like it might shatter with a breath. The doors slide together. Ava's face narrows into a strip, then a sliver, then it is gone. The elevator settles on the lobby with a soft knock. Patrick angles the chair through the sliding doors and out to the canopy. Heat waits outside like a hand on the face. The sky is clean Texas blue. Traffic moves past the hospital entrance in steady ropes. Sarah points to a silver sedan at the curb. The key fob opens it with a blink. We ride in silence. Sarah drives with a light touch. Her eyes check mirrors. I hold the manila folder like a shield. The city slides by in snapshots. Murals. A taco stand. The river bright between buildings. My ribs loosen with every block that pushes the hospital farther back. Cedar Ridge Heart Institute sits low in modern glass and limestone trees trimmed into careful shadows. Inside, the light is warm. The lobby smells like coffee and lemon oil instead of bleach. A receptionist takes the transfer forms from Sarah stamps a page and smiles at me like I am a person and not a task. Dr. Alvarez comes in wearing a white coat with his sleeves pushed up. Late 50s, hair gray at the temples. He shakes my hand and looks me in the eyes while he does it. His office has diplomas, a photo of 2 teenagers with a soccer trophy and a pot with a plant that is actually alive. He listens to my heart. He looks at my labs. He asks questions that feel like he is trying to meet me instead of meet a chart. He gives me a short memory test and watches how I draw a clock. I sketch 10-10 without thinking. The numbers look right. The circle is even. "You will need surgery," he says. "But not today, not as an emergency. We can schedule it with care after you rest and plan." The words stack inside my chest and lift something off my spine. Sarah writes the phrase non-emergent on a sticky note. She attaches it to the front of the file like a flag. We leave with copies. Outside, the sun has fallen behind a cloud. The heat breaks. Sarah drives to the Paramount on Congress. The bellman opens the glass and we roll into a lobby that smells like wood in old movies. Brass shines. A piano sits in the corner like it is thinking of a song. In the suite, Sarah sets her bag on the desk. Marcus arrives 10 minutes later, jacket unbuttoned, shirt sleeves clean. He puts his briefcase down, then looks at me. Not through me. At me. "Are you safe?" he asks. "Yes," I say, "for now." He sits. He pulls out a legal pad and a small recorder. He sets the recorder on the table and clicks it on. "Tell me what you heard," he says. His pen is ready. I speak slowly. I repeat the words I heard as if they were written on the wall in chalk. 5,000. Recovery room. Extra dose. Naples. Papers. Camera. He does not interrupt with questions. He only says, "Say that again," when he needs the exact phrasing. He shows me a request he filed for an investigation. He shows me a draft for a temporary order to freeze assets if needed. He shows me an email to a forensic accountant who owes him a favor. The hotel phone rings. Sarah answers and mutes it with her palm. "Media at the entrance," she says to Marcus. "Ava and Chase are on camera. They are saying you kidnapped her." Marcus looks at me. There is a question in his face and a warning under it. "You can stay quiet," he says. "We can let this pass and handle it in court." "They brought cameras," I say. I can hear my own voice settle. "We bring light." He studies me for a second and then nods once. He turns to Sarah. "We do this in the lobby in 1 hour," he says. "We control the space. We keep it short. We provide documents." Sarah picks up her phone and moves to the window to make calls. Marcus pulls a fresh pad. He lists points on the left, names on the right. He draws a line between them with the side of his pen. Evidence on the table grows into a row. Dr. Alvarez's note that says non-emergent. A copy of my transfer paperwork. The front page of my real will. A photo I took years ago from a ribbon cutting where a red scarf stood like a flare behind my shoulder. Sarah adds a small bouquet of sunflowers she found in the hotel gift shop. She sets them on the table without comment. I stand in front of the mirror to practice the first sentence. I am in my blouse and jacket. I smooth the collar. I watch my mouth shape words. The clock in the room moves 1 minute forward with a little jump. Sarah pins a small microphone to my lapel. The wire is invisible if you do not know it is there. The lobby has been rearranged when we step off the elevator. The manager has set up a podium. A cluster of reporters waits with cameras on tripods and phones in hands. Every lens has the hungry patience of an animal. The hotel staff hovers near the desk with professional calm. Ava and Chase sit in the first row. She has retied her scarf. He has polished his expression into concern. When the crowd sees me crossing the carpet, the noise drops an inch. Marcus stands to my right. Sarah holds the folder just out of frame. I hold the edge of the podium and feel the grain of the wood. I breathe once. I look up. "My name is Helen Ward," I say. "I am here by choice. I am lucid. I am safe." I want to clarify what happened this morning. The first wave of clicks hits. I keep my eyes on a spot just above the lenses and speak to that. I was scheduled for heart surgery at St. Helena. While I waited, I overheard a conversation at my door. I recognized the voices. The conversation described a plan to benefit from my death during recovery. A nurse was named. An amount was named. A method was named. I let the room hold that. I left the hospital legally for second opinion, I say. Dr. Alvarez at Cedar Ridge examined me and confirmed the surgery could be scheduled with care. His report is here. Marcus lifts the page so it is visible. Cameras take the shot. He lays it down and steps back. A reporter with a local station pin asks the first question. "Do you have proof of the conversation?" "I called my attorney from the hospital," I say. "He recorded my description in real time. He filed a complaint. The authorities will do their work." Chase stands. His voice wears a polite coat over something sharp. "She is confused," he says. "She is under stress. We are her family. We were looking for her because she ran away." Marcus moves and his body language presses the air flat. "Sir," he says, "you would be wise to let investigators sort your statements." Ava stands too. Tears sit in her eyes like glass beads. She looks right into a camera. "Mom, please," she says, "stop this." I turn to her. I do not raise my voice. "Name the nurse," I say. Her mouth opens. It does not find a sound. "Name the city," I say. "The balcony, the sunsets." Chase laughs too softly. "This is ridiculous," he says. "No one said Naples." Several heads in the second row turn to look at him because he spoke the word he said no one said. A photographer takes a single sharp frame. The scarf looks very red under indoor light. Marcus returns to the microphone. He keeps it brief. "We have a recording. We have medical documentation. We have requested protection of evidence at St. Helena. We have asked that certain staff be interviewed." I close the folder on the podium and rest my hand on it so my fingers stop shaking. I'm aware of the sunflowers at the edge of the frame. Yellow that looks like daybreak, the lilies are gone from my air. One more thing I say. I am not making accusations because I want attention. I am speaking to stay alive, that is all. The manager thanks the press and ends it. The noise surges back as questions fly that I do not answer. Sarah guides me 2 steps back from the podium. Marcus shields with his body when a microphone tries to reach past the space he holds. A phone vibrates against my palm. It is not mine. Marcus checks his. He reads the text with his eyebrows first. Vargas is in an interview room, he says, voice low. He asks for a lawyer. He is talking. The room feels both warmer and colder. Ava looks at her hands. Chase looks at the exit. A reporter reads something from a screen and raises her camera again. Marcus slips the phone back into his pocket. His eyes meet mine. He nods once. The sunflowers on the table are still as if they are listening. Vargas folds fast. Marcus gets the call before we have taken the microphones off. He puts his phone to his ear and listens with no expression. When he ends the call, he speaks so only I can hear. He admitted the money, he says, $5,000. He says Chase handed it over in the garage by the south stairwell. He says he was supposed to chart pain management and push an extra dose in recovery. My mouth goes dry. I taste old coffee and metal. In my head, I see the south stairwell green paint, a sign with a peeling arrow, the smell of concrete and rain tracked in by shoes. Sarah has already started a list. She writes Crescent Pay with a question mark. Marcus taps the table beside her notes. Digital trail, he says. Geotags. Garage cameras. We freeze accounts now. They move as if they have done this for years. I sit very still and let the pieces swing around me. By late afternoon, we sit in a conference room with glass walls and a view over Congress. The light angles in and makes the table shine. The forensic accountant arrives with a loose tie and a laptop that knows too much. He pulls up statements and scrolls with 2 fingers. Numbers bloom like time-lapse flowers. Here, he says, and here, and here. Repairs paid to vendors that do not exist. Insurance premiums that never hit a policy. Transfers to shell entities registered last winter. Many under 10,000. A handful just over 12. It looks like 318,400 across 36 months. He says the amount without ceremony. It lands on the table with quiet weight. He clicks one more time and a screen shows a list of dates and amounts. There is a Crescent Pay deposit with a memo that reads Consult. The timestamp lines up with the stairwell camera time Marcus requested. I study the list until the digits blur. Marcus files for a temporary restraining order that night. He files to freeze assets tied to my holdings. He asks the court to order St. Helena to preserve video logs, badge swipes, medication audits. He moves to block anyone from acting under any power of attorney paper not verified by his office. Opposing counsel shows teeth early. The next morning, a man in a navy suit too dark for the heat tells a judge I am confused. He calls my name and I stand. He talks about age and stress and anesthesia risk. He says I am being manipulated by my lawyer to rewrite documents for his benefit. Marcus slides a packet across to the clerk without looking at the man. The packet contains Dr. Alvarez's note. It contains the clock drawing I made with a black pen. It contains a video recorded on a clinic iPad in which I remember 3 words and list them again after a minute. Apple, penny, chair. I say them in the same order without prompting. Marcus speaks in clear blocks the judge can stack in his head. Non-emergent surgical status, he says. Cognitive screen consistent with intact function. Recording of my client's call from the hospital documenting the overheard plan. Forensic accounting that identifies systematic theft. A witness who admits to a bribed overdose. We request a restraining order and conservation of evidence. The judge looks past us at a point somewhere on the window. He has a tan line at his wrist where a watch sits when he is not on the bench. He speaks without raising his voice. Temporary restraining order granted, he says. Freeze on transfers. Order to preserve hospital records and surveillance. Parties will return after initial investigation. Chase sits very straight at the table. He keeps his face smooth until it breaks. It breaks when a reporter in the hallway asks a question with a bright voice and a phone held high. Did you pay a nurse named Leon Vargas, she asks. Did you use Crescent Pay? We will take everything she has, he says. He thinks he is lowering his voice. The phone catches every syllable. A hush ripples around us like wind in dry grass. Ava touches his sleeve. Her hand shakes hard enough that the scarf trembles. She turns her face away from the camera and pinches the bridge of her nose. When she drops her hand, her eyes are red. After the hearing, in a quiet hallway that smells like dust and air conditioning, Ava asks to speak to me alone. Marcus looks at me. I nod. She waits until the door to the stairwell closes. The light is different in here, cooler. Her voice is lighter than it was when she faced the cameras. She stares at the floor tile while she speaks. He pushed it, she says. He said it was the only way we would ever be free. He said you would never let go of anything. He said you would live forever just to keep your hand on the keys. I taught you to hold keys, I say, not to steal them. She looks up. For a second, I see the face she had at 5 years old, cereal milk on her lip hair, sticking up, eyes clear. The second passes. I do not know how to undo this, she says. I reach up and touch the red scarf at her neck with 2 fingers. The silk is soft. It slides under my skin like water. I think of lilies and the smell of rooms where voices go quiet. I release the scarf and let it fall back into place. Start by telling everything true, I say. Her mouth presses into a line. I see the calculation return. She nods, but it is a nod for the camera that is not here. She opens the stair door and leaves before I can say her name again. The next hours are work. Marcus walks me through statements again. He puts dates in order and lines them against bank movements and cell tower pings. He has the face of a carpenter who trusts a level. Sarah collects the small things. She takes photos of the lilies in my hospital room from earlier this week, in case anyone says there were no flowers. She asks Ruth to write a statement about the call and the postponement. She asks Dr. Keaton's office for a copy of consent forms with timestamps. She finds the parking receipt that puts Chase at the garage at the right hour. By late afternoon, the district attorney's office has Vargas in a room with bad coffee and an officer who does not mind silence. Vargas signs a statement after his counsel tells him his options. He says the plan was simple. He says he was told there would be a complication, and he would say he made a charting error. He says he did not think it would matter. Marcus reads the text of the confession out loud in his office. His voice contains no triumph. It only contains the exact words. We move back into the hotel suite when the sun turns the glass on the high-rises into a field of coins. I sit on the sofa with my shoes off and press my toes into the carpet to remind my body where it is. The room smells like lemon oil and something sweet from the restaurant on the corner. Sarah turns on the local news. The clip plays of the hearing hallway. You can hear Chase's words as clear as if he whispered them into your ear. The station plays the clip twice. My phone buzzes on the table. It is a number I do not know. This is Valerie Knox, a woman says. Her voice has the friendly brisk that belongs to a person who has deadlines. I am with KTXA Investigative. I am covering elder financial abuse statewide. I watched your statement in the hearing. I would like to interview you on record with full documentation about how this unfolded. I look at Marcus. He watches my face and does not speak. Sarah has a pen ready for names and times. Valerie keeps her voice steady. I am not calling for sensational footage, she says. I am calling because people in the city are losing everything to people they trust, and your case shows the mechanics. If you are willing, we can film at the hotel with security present. We will show each document and how it fits. I stand and walk to the window while she speaks. The glass is cool. Congress moves below like a river of lights. On the corner, a woman in a yellow dress laughs and tips her head back. A bus exhales. A bike's chain ticks as it passes. Send your questions, I say. We will look. We hang up. Marcus writes the name and station down on his pad. He underlines it once. He turns the television down. The room settles. The sunflowers on the table hold the last light. 6 months folds into the city the way heat folds into summer. The clock on my office wall ticks without hurry. The hands shine against white. The second hand climbs and lands. For a breath it feels like it stops. Then it keeps going. Marcus stands in the doorway with a folder. His tie is loose. He does not sit. It is done, he says. He places the orders on my desk. The paper has weight. I read names and counts in the shape of years. 8 for Ava and Chase. 5 for Vargas. The seal presses a circle into the page that catches light like a coin. Outside the window, Congress moves as usual. A bus huffs. A woman drags a suitcase that clicks in even beats. A man in a straw hat lifts his phone and smiles at whatever looks back. The office is new, 2 rooms. A sign on frosted glass says Helen Ward Foundation for Elder Justice. The paint still smells like clean. A row of files holds letters that look like cousins. Handwriting that leans. Ink that smears in places where someone's hand sweated. Sarah built a form so we can track what comes in. She labeled binders with names I have not learned yet. On the corner of my desk sits a small vase. Sunflowers hold their faces up to the window. No lilies, no sweet bruised smell. The petals feel like paper when I touch them. Peter brings coffee at 10. He carries a bag of breakfast tacos and a paper with scores circled. He looks younger than he did in May. He puts the coffee down and looks at the clock like he is timing a souffle. "You read it yet?" he asks. I turn the order toward him. He reads the numbers to himself and nods once as if he agrees with the math. He sits. He opens the bag and hands me a taco wrapped tight in foil. "Eat," he says. We eat with the window open a crack. Outside, a guitar on the sidewalk tries the same riff 3 times, finds it on the 4th. The air smells like cumin asphalt and the faint push of river water. In the afternoon, we film in the hotel lobby for Valerie's piece. No floodlights, a small camera on a tripod, a sound guy with a soft voice. Valerie wears flat shoes and asks for water before questions. She spreads the documents on the table and frames them one by one. The transfer, the non-emergent note. A still from the stairwell camera where a hand passes an envelope to a sleeve. A screen grab of a crescent pay memo with the word consult. She asks precise questions and waits for answers to land. She does not reach for what is not on the table. She does not ask me to repeat the word that made the other clip go viral. She glances at the sunflowers and shoots a cutaway. The petals catch a square of light. 2 weeks later, the piece runs. It moves with quiet steps. It shows fingerprints where they exist and blank places where they do not. The sound of my hospital monitor opens the segment and then fades. People send messages to the foundation email that start with, "I did not know how to say this." Sarah answers with times and addresses. Marcus connects 2 callers to pro bono counsel. The files grow another inch. Saturday comes with slow rain and a room that smells like crayons. The family center is painted in colors that someone chose to look like mourning. I sit in a chair too low for grown knees. The door opens and Sophia runs in first. Matthew behind her, arms tight at his sides, at first, then not. I have brought a small book about birds. We spread it on the table. Sophia points at the goldfinch and says it looks like the flowers on my desk. Matthew says he saw a hawk once behind a school and makes a shape with his hands to show the wings. We draw with stubby pencils, yellow, brown, a blue that does not belong to any Texas sky I know. A social worker sits at the far desk and types. Her keyboard makes a soft patter that blends into the rain against the glass. The hour has a beginning and an end. When it ends, Sophia hugs me with her whole body. Matthew's cheek brushes mine so fast I almost miss it. "Next time," he says it like a contract. On a Sunday that feels like it used to. I walk by the lake when the air is thin and gold. Runners pass. A dog shakes water onto a path and turns to look sorry. Boats make soft triangle wakes. The wind lifts a scarf around my neck. Yellow. The cloth taps my collarbone and hangs there like a dot on a sentence. The town keeps its sounds. The clock keeps its count. The phone in my bag hums twice and then rests. A cyclist calls on your left and glides by like a silver fish. On the bridge, I stop and rest my forearms on warm rail. I watch a turtle lift its head and then slide under like a coin in a fountain. The sun sits low enough to turn glass into quiet fire. Somewhere a radio plays a song from another year and a car laughs across a lane line. Breath in, breath out. The tick in my wristwatch finds a rhythm that matches my chest. The second hand moves from 12 to 1 and does not hesitate. The river pretends to stand still and does not. In my head, I make a list I do not write down. Faces I know, faces I hope to forget. Keys I will keep in a dish by the door. The dish will be white. The dish will be empty before it is full. I turn toward Congress and the hotel and the office that smells like new paint and coffee. The sunflowers in the vase will be open. The stems will be cut on a slant to drink water better. The petals will face the window. The clock will keep time. The door will open and close. Thank you so much for listening to today's story. If this story resonated with you or made you reflect, I'd love to hear your thoughts, so feel free to share them in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss the next story. I'll see you next time as we continue exploring more journeys and lessons together.